Hey everybody, I'm Den Haring. Thanks for joining me on Fish Den 365. And holy crap, if you're watching this right now, it means it's Topwater Tuesday! And today, I got a really special one for you. I'm going to share with you my secret topwater tactic. So here is the bait that I create for this special topwater circumstance. This is a time when I like to fish this bait over any other. And this bait has a very good topwater action. We're going to show you in a few minutes how we make this thing up. It's very simple, very easy to do, and it's a very effective bait. It's super versatile. You can fish it under the water, but my favorite way to fish it is as a topwater. We'll show you some footage for how we do that in a little bit. But it's basically a Gamakatsu superline hook with a belly weight, 1/4 ounce belly weight on it. This is a turbo flare skirt that I get from Jan's Netcraft. And then I have a 4.8 inch Kitech swing impact fat on here. Now this one's made up to look like a shad, but I also have a bluegill color combination that looks like a bluegill. Both baits have their place and time. Let me show you how we make this thing up right now. So we've changed the camera angle to show you what we got. Here is the bait, and we'll show you how we make this up. 3 simple components are all you need. Number 1, get yourself a pack of these Gamakatsu superline hooks, 5/0, 1/4 ounce. Here's the hook out of the package. It comes with one of these clips. And the next thing you want to do is, I like these turbo flare skirts that come from Jan's Netcraft. There's a couple ways you can put the skirt on. You can pull the clip off here and then put it through the skirt, but there's a simpler way. You just have to kind of force it through. So what I'll do here is I'll show you how I do this. I just force the screw side right through the skirt here. And I'm just gonna force it all the way through. Once you get it started, and there you can see it's coming out the other side already. So it's just a matter. Sometimes you have to screw it on there a little bit, but you just keep working it. And then once you have it like this, I'll just use my thumbs to push it all the way over. There we go. So you probably saw that where it came out. So now we're ready to install our bait. And in this particular case, I'm making one up here that looks like a bluegill. So I've chose a skirt that has a little more of a bluegill or even a perch look to it. And I've chosen a 4.8 inch Kitech swing impact fat in the sungill color. IU is another good color for imitating bluegill or perch. And then it's just simply a matter of screwing the bait on. So we'll show this to you as well. So you just want to put this into the nose of the bait. You want to try and center it as best you can. Start turning the bait so that it screws in there. So we're screwing it in now. There we go. And then you want to position this so that the hook comes directly through here like this. So right now we have it positioned perfectly to do that. So then I use my thumb as a guide as to where we want that hook to come out. So then I have the right here, and then you want to come out the back right in the center. And you can see that the hook is in that hook slot. So it's weedless. Now, if you have a lot of cover, you could always make it go into the side of the bait a little bit, but usually you don't even have to do that. The last thing is to make sure the skirt is positioned the way you want it. Now, all bait fish, including bluegill and perch and alewives and shad, the belly is lighter than the back. So in this particular case, I want to turn the skirt without turning the bait. And that's simple enough because the skirt's just on on this screw lock. So what I'm doing now is turning it so that the orange of the skirt, orange and green strands, are on the belly, and that the darker part, which is the brown with the purple fleck in here, is on the back. And there you have it. You're ready to fish the bait. This skirt acts as it just looks like scales. It gives you movement, and it acts as that blunt force to move weeds and milfoil and pads out of the way, and it makes this bait a really fun bait to fish. You want to have it straight up and down like this. You just tie onto the hook. Make sure you tie onto the hook eye and not the screw eye. But that's it. You're ready to fish the bait, and this has caught me a lot of nice fish, and I think it will be a good one for you as well. Here's the bluegill. Here's my shad color. The shad color one, I'm using the same turbo flare skirt. I think this is called Ghost Minnow. I forget what this one's called. It might be bluegill or something like that. And then the bait that I'm using, it's the same Kitech Swing Impact Fat. This is called Bluegill Flash. I like Bluegill Flash, even though it's called Bluegill Flash, I like it better as a shad color. It just looks really good with that shad skirt. And then we have this nice perch or bluegill pattern. If you want to make this even look more like a bluegill, you can take a black marker and make vertical lines through here. And that would make it look more like a bluegill or a perch if you want it to. Either way, it's gonna catch you fish. Pretty one. Well, that's it. Now that you've seen how we make the bait, let's talk about how we fish this thing a little bit. So, you know, we already mentioned the versatility about it. You can throw it out there and fish it under the water. You can let it slowly fall to the bottom, fish it along the bottom, fish it mid-level. My favorite way, though, is to fish it as a topwater. When I'm doing that, I'm throwing it in weeds. I'm throwing it primarily in milfoil and primarily through lily pads. But it could also be over the tops of tree branches if you have some brush or something like that that's sticking out of the water. This thing rides and plows through anything very well. I don't know if it's because of this weighted hook. I think that's part of it, but I think the bigger part is actually the blunt head that this jig skirt creates, because I used to fish this without the skirt, just the hook and the Swing Impact Fat, and it would catch more weeds on it, especially milfoil, when I would reel it through the milfoil. But when I added this skirt to give it a little more bulk and to give it a little bit more secondary action, that movement of the skirt looks like scales and that kind of thing as the bait moves. When I added that and started playing with it, I realized it came through everything better. It came through the pads better. It comes through milfoil better. You can just, if you have milfoil that's topped out on the surface, you can throw this right in the middle of it and just reel it right on top of that milfoil. And you can do the same thing with the pads, over and through the pads. And when it gets into an opening, you can run it across if you want, and that tail will be kicking, or you can stop it and it'll go down in there into a hole in the pads or a hole in the milfoil. And if something bites it, you set the hook, great. If not, when you reel in, well, you have more pads here. It just comes right up and over the top of these pads and right up over the top of the rest of the milfoil. And it makes a really good topwater presentation. The fish like this thing. They'll chase it down. You know, I like this weighted hook. You know, people, you might be wondering, well, why 1/4 ounce? Why not lighter? It'll stay up higher. And that's true. It would stay up higher. But I like to use this thing in a way that allows me to cast it a long distance. 1/4 ounce weight can let me cast this thing a country mile. And I also like it to make disturbance in the pads and the weeds. So that bigger weight makes a larger disturbance. I just plow it right through that stuff. I just reel it right through. I plow it through. As long as you do the right thing with the hook, you know, this swing impact fat is perfect for it because it has that slit along the back. And you can just lay the hook down in there. I don't even have to put the point into the plastic. If it's really, really thick cover, I might just put it sideways like that so that the hook point is just barely in the plastic. But most of the time, if you set this up right, you don't even need to do that. You just have this thing and it's weedless and it'll go through anything you reel it through. It's really something. And that's one of the big pluses to fishing this, because it's so versatile. You can throw this thing, it's great for covering water. I can cover a whole expanse of pads by throwing this thing out there. Same thing with the milfoil. If I come across the fallen tree, I can chuck it in there. If there's some open water that I want to fish, maybe from going from one pad section to another, I can throw this out and let it go down into the water column a little bit, fish it that way. Extremely versatile bait. I've caught fish under the water with it. I caught fish on top with it. Really, really nice bait to throw. So what do I use for it? Generally, I'm fishing a medium heavy action rod for this bait. This is the rod I typically throw it on. This is a ducket rod. It's a medium heavy 7-foot ducket rod. I like the rod because I can throw it a good distance, but it has enough backbone where I can set the hook and get that fish up and out of that mess. And then I have a Bass Pro Shops Carbon Light 2.0 reel. This particular one has an 8.3 to 1 gear ratio, so I can get those fish up and out of there that much faster with that fast, higher speed gear ratio. That's an important part of this equation as well. I typically fish this on 20-pound braid with a fluorocarbon leader. I like the fluorocarbon, even though it's top water. I like the fluorocarbon for this because I'm just dragging it along the top anyway, and fluorocarbon has a little less stretch than mono, so I get a little bit better hook set on when I'm setting the hook on this, because remember, this is a super line hook. It's a pretty thick, stout hook, so you need to get a good hook set to get that hook through the fish's mouth. So that's why I like to use the fluorocarbon as a leader. I'll use about 2 rod lengths of fluorocarbon leader along with the spider wire stealth braid. So that's it, my secret topwater tactic, my secret bait here. It's just a simple thing. You need just a weighted hook, the jig skirt, and a swing impact fat. I like the 4.8 inch for this. It just seems to make a good bulky presentation. I want the fish to see it. I want to plow it through things, and I'm trying to catch big fish with this. But you'd be surprised, I caught plenty of fish 12, 13 inches on this as well. But it does lend itself well to some bigger fish. Well, that's it for this Topwater Tuesday. I hope you liked that video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. That helps me get the video out to more people. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Try this technique if you haven't tried it. I think you'll find that it can be quite effective in the waters that you fish too. I'm Den Haring for Fish Den 365. We'll see you next time. And as always, may God bless your fishing endeavors.